in US. You cannot get that with other people kasi nandun siya mismo sa tawag nga natin ay war zone.
Iba kasi siya magturo. Gusto niya kasi na kung ano yung knowledge niya, gusto niya i-impart dun sa student niya. You are not only learning from him, pero natututo ka din sa sarili mo.
Kumbaga, hindi spoon feeding. He lets you think out of the box. Kumbaga, parang ganon. Ang dami ko talagang natutunan na hindi siya available online. Yung sinishare ni Joe sa classroom, hindi mo siya mahanap anywhere. Wala sa YouTube, wala sa Google.
More than teaching, parang sa kanya yung students talaga parang family na rin. Bihira naman yung ganong course na nagkikipag one-on-one sa'yo yung mentor. You cannot get this information or mentoring in other programs, not in the Philippines.
Yan posted it in our group that Joe is offering for a scholarship. I grabbed it agad-agad. When I was granted to become a scholar, oh no, I told myself, wow, this is the chance that I will become an accountant. Since I am not an accountant. Actually, I cried. I was so happy that time.
After taking the course, I got multiple US clients.
Nag-post na ako ng certification ko. Pusot-pusot na yung offers sa akin. I received 10 offers, 12 offers. Pag may skill ka, lalo na pag accountant ka, lalo na pag may certificate ka na, marami talagang hahabol sa'yo. Maraming mag-o-offer sa'yo. Kaya ikaw na lang yung pipili kung saan yung gusto mo.
Kung makakapag-build tayo ng ganitong career, working from home, having US clients, I think mas mabuboost yung work-life balance natin dahil dito.
Learning US accounting and tax preparer is a big leap for us freelancer. There are millions of clients who needs this service, so it is really in demand.
If you really want to equip yourself, magkaroon ng edge sa ibang mga freelancers, this is the great opportunity for you.
Good evening.
Hello. So still having some technical difficulties here. Did you get the link, Marianne?
Yes, I got it. Yep. Thank you so much. Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna see if, so I'm still, even though I'm doing this for years now, I'm still learning. So I just shared it to the group. Yes, I believe it's in there. And I shared it twice, actually. So let me see if we're working, and then we'll start the entering the studio. I don't know what that means. Yes. Okay, there we go. So not sure if that's actually the link, but I know that we're live. Hold on one second. Let's play the countdown. Okay, hello everybody. We are live. I don't think we're live everywhere that I wanted to be. I apologize for that. I know that
Yeah, we're live on
JJ,
YouTube. We're live on
yes,
YouTube. Don't worry.
okay. So yes, we're live on YouTube. I don't know if you could share the link, Marianne, but if you can, I
Yep.
just couldn't figure it out. I'm using uh, StreamYard and Facebook Live for years now. So, and I'm pretty tech savvy, but anyway, it is what it is. The show must go on. Uh, if you're watching live, give us a hashtag live. If you're watching the recording, give us a hashtag recording. And what's really great about that is whenever you post, we get to see that you're posting, and if you have a question, we will definitely get back to you and answer it. If it could be a question for me, it could be a question for Coach Yan Yan here. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Joe DiChara. I am a Brooklyn born and bred U.S. CPA, and I've been practicing accounting for over 20 years. I've been teaching people how to do accounting remotely for over 20 years, starting with my mom, who was 65 with no experience at the time. Just think about that. A lot of my students have have asked me, "Am I too old?" And then I tell them the story of my mom. I actually have a video of her giving me a testimonial uh, when and she says, she was 65 when she started. So think about that, with no experience, and she became an integral part of my business for over 15 years. So if you think you're too old to start, you're absolutely wrong. Uh, in addition to that, thanks to my friend here, who I'm going to introduce in a minute, Coach Yan Yan, I've had the pleasure of teaching close to 1,000 Philippine accountants that want to learn how to do U.S. taxes. And if you were watching in the beginning before we started here, we had a bunch of testimonials. The one that always touches me is the first one from Annie, who was actually in a situation. She was working in another country. She wasn't happy. She quit her job. She came home and she prayed. Prayers always help, right, Marianne? And she prayed.
Yes.
And then what happened was she went into Marianne's group, Accounting Peoples, and she saw a post about our first courses. And I don't remember if she was in batch 1 or batch 2, but she actually not only got a position or working remotely, she got a position making more than what she was making at her job overseas. And that's really why me and Marianne do this, because we want to empower you. We want to show you what the opportunity is, prove to you that no matter where you are, no matter if you have no experience, even if you're not an accountant, believe it or not. Uh, I've had a couple of accountants that I hired that weren't even accountants. So anything is possible if you believe that. And let me introduce you to my beautiful partner in crime, friend, and I can't say enough about her. She's been in the last 2 years in the top 100 Filipinos on LinkedIn. She's a master networker. She's great at landing clients, getting interviews. And we're going to spend the next hour or so talking to you about the free workshop that we're both putting on Tuesday, tomorrow, 7 p.m., and Thursday at 7 p.m. They're not the same workshops. They're actually split in two because there was too much content to put it into one. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Coach Yan Yan. Hi, Marianne.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So we did it. Some technical issue, but we find ways to be able to give you some information about how to crack the U.S. market. I hope is everyone is safe and doing great this Monday night. So good evening, everyone. For those who's watching live. Yep.
So we
Yeah.
have one of
Let's start.
our, we actually have one of our uh, wonderful, loyal students. JJ is in the house. I see him. So I know that we're live. JJ, you can give us if you can give us a hashtag live, you'll be number one. And I do appreciate you being here. And where do we? So let's start with this, Marianne, because this is what we started with last night. Uh, let's define exactly what a freelancer is and opposed to a remote worker, because there is a difference. And I think that
Yeah.
you nailed it last night. I think I was a little bit off, but I think that you hit the nail on the head. So why don't you explain what the difference is, because it's important.
Yeah, so again, good evening, everyone. So I will give you some overview. What's the difference of freelancer or being a freelancing or being a freelancer? As someone who started 2021 for years, turning 5 years next year. So, freelancer and being called a remote worker or work from home is totally different. So normally as a freelancer, you have a chance or able to cater different clients at your own pace and flexible time. You can do multiple clients, but for those who wants to just, work remotely or work from home, sometimes it's like a corporate setup that you have to be able to render 8 hours, and there's a tracker, or even without the tracker you have to be on the time zone specified on the role. So that's why you don't have to be more, uh being confused on what's the difference of these two, work from home working remotely or remote worker, than a freelancer. So I hope you able to separate or distinguish the difference of these two.
Yes.
Yep.
So whether you want to be a freelancer or just, have the freedom of working from home like my mom did, it's all up
Yes.
to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned the tracker, Marianne, and I have to tell you
Yeah.
personally, I hate those. I hate those
Yes.
because when I first started hiring remote workers, I had trackers on, and I got scammed. I got scammed because people uh,
Mm-hmm.
they're uh, and this isn't for everyone, but there are dishonest people out there. And I had to pay attention to what they were doing. I had a web designer, and I look at the video, and her mouse didn't move for like 45 minutes. I was like, how are you a web
Yeah.
designer and your mouse doesn't move for 45 minutes? There's something. So I lodged a complaint. I got like 40 hours reimbursed. But more importantly, what I learned, being an agency owner now, working with a bunch of remote workers for well over 4 going on 5 years now, what I learned is, you know, you got to have systems. You got to, set your business up based on production. So I know I don't have to have a tracker on my people to know if they're doing my job, doing their job. Does that make sense?
Agree.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
other
Again.
part of it, go ahead.
Yes. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, the other part of it, human nature, people don't like being watched. They don't like having the camera on them. It's kind of creepy, to be honest with you. So That being said, what I want to, and I would share this in my classes. You decide, and this is a big part of this, right, Marion? You decide what kind of situation you want. Don't just, apply for a job and get a job and start working. If you don't fit, if you're okay with the tracker, then that's fine. If you're not okay with the tracker, then what do, Marianne? You ask in the interview if they
Questions.
have a tracker,
Interview.
right?
Yeah.
So
This is something that
let
you also need to ask during interview.
let's talk about, so tomorrow we start the actual workshop where we're going to do a real deep dive into all of these issues. Uh, I'm going to share, and I'm sure you have a bunch of templates and other tools and stuff to share with people. Uh, but let me, and I don't want to, go into everything. I don't want to, let the cat out of the bag altogether, but just some of the things that we're going to talk about, like, how do you get an interview? And I know there's a lot of people out there that apply, and we talked about this yesterday. They're applying for jobs and they're not getting interviews. So let's just, briefly uh, give them a little taste of how you conquered that.
Yeah, so basically, if you're applicant or for those who's watching who really wants to transition from corporate to working remotely or freelancer, basically you should start, of course, being resourceful and be creative in your application. So first step, of course, you should really read the job descriptions, the website of the clients beforehand. So you also consider the rate, the time zone, the industry, and then specifically the job description. Sometimes we're too overwhelmed to apply that you think you're fit on that role, but sometimes you have to read that this is someone who's with e-commerce experience, someone with accounting firm experience with multiple clients. So you have to read detail oriented on reading those information so your application will not be wasted. So some HR and agency or a client is too busy to really, check all your profile. So aside from reading all the job descriptions, you have to create something that will really struck them, which is the Loom videos that I've always taught them to really use. So when I started also way back 2021, I also don't know how to use Loom videos, but eventually when I learned using it, it's very powerful because again, it already gives value to the client because it already save their time, watching your videos, and even before interview they have already an overview what is your skills, what you are capable of, and then you already cater your confidence level in a way. So initially that's the preparation, and of course you have to read the website, you have to check the name of the client, you have to check on LinkedIn what's their profile, what's their industry.
Okay, okay. I'm
So
gonna I'm gonna stop you there because you're
yeah.
gonna be giving away the house. If you want to learn, if you really want to learn more, I mean, Marianne's not
Mm.
probably, but she's the best that I've ever seen at a bunch of things. And getting the interview, that's, if you're not getting the interview, let's face it, you're not getting an offer. So the first step is you got to figure out how to get the interview. And, Marianne knows this. So Marianne, just a little bit more of an insight on how I know Marianne. I actually hired Marianne. Okay. She applied to be an accountant for my firm. And Marianne, how did you? So, besides the video, there was one
Yeah.
thing that was different about my job post. What was it?
So it is very long job descriptions and qualification, and at the end of the post, put baseball if you read the whole job post. So that's it. So you should be detailed oriented. So that basically baseball is the keyword. Yeah.
Yeah, so I learned that technique from my coach, Larry Broughton. And let me tell you something. So, Marianne said people don't have time to read your whole interview, and that's true. And now that's coming from somebody that posts jobs. And I got to tell you, I could put a job post right now on onlinejobs.ph, and before this live training is done, I'll have 50 to 100 applications. So I don't have time, and anybody that's hiring somebody doesn't have time to go through all of those applications. So what Larry taught me was you make it a detailed description. In other words, you force them to read it, and then at the end, we put a secret word. Okay. And not only that, we say put the words baseball in capital letters, nothing else in the subject line. Otherwise, I'm not even going to look at
Subject line.
your right. And 80% of the people didn't put the secret word in there, which tells me people aren't even paying attention. And that's one of the things that you're telling them. Read the job description. And what they're doing is they're copying and pasting. And, think about it. I'm hiring an accountant, a detailed oriented individual, and they're not reading the details. So do you really think I'm going to hire somebody like that? No. So that was something that saved me a lot of time. And I got to tell you, any business owner that you're going to be talking to or HR person, their most valuable, precious asset is their time. So they're going to respect you if you respect their time. And Marianne's idea of attaching the Loom video is it sets her apart. Now, the other thing Larry taught me was make them do a Loom video. So, that was part of it. And so again, watching the Loom videos from a lot of people helped me eliminate candidates. I had people that would do the Loom video and they had the laundry hanging up behind them. Now, as from my firm, it requires meeting with clients. So what kind of impression is that going to have on people? So when you do your video, make sure that you have, if you don't, creating a virtual background is simple. Okay. If you don't know how to do that, then just make sure that you have like a clean background behind you, maybe a bookshelf or something. Okay. Look right into the camera and talk clearly. Does that make sense, Marianne?
Yes, again, the client international wants someone who can really be someone who's client facing and able to speak their mind and confident enough to talk with the CEO, other directors and other departments. So they need someone which is confident enough, not necessarily good in English, but someone who can communicate clearly the thoughts and rely those informations. Yep.
So, yeah. So let me ask you an important question. How do you get confident?
Being able to have your self awareness. I think that's the thing that I've learned. Sometimes we're too focused on others people, strength, and in a way sometimes there's some envy, but side you should first know yourself that you are capable of doing this. Again, professional. All of the people accountant are all professional. For sure you have skills and expertise that you have already in you, which is very transferable. All you have to do is you're aware that you can do the job and you know what you're doing and exactly what value you can give to the client. So from there, you gain your confidence that you can help the business owners to grow. Yeah, I think that's it. Self-awareness. I don't know how to really improve that self-awareness, but basically that's the first thing that you should learn. Yep.
Well, you're on the right track. Self-awareness. You have to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and there's a great free tool out there. It's called Clifton Strengths Finders. Okay, and
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and it's a tool for free. It'll what it does is it's a personality assessment, and it's going to ask you a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
questions, and then it's going to tell you what your strengths are. So you want to work from your strengths, okay? And then
Yes, and do
when
blind
Larry
spot.
was here on one of our Jumpstart events, he asked the group a question. He said, "Who's the most negative person in your life?" Right?
And
Yeah.
then you're thinking
So
your
when he asked
auntie, your
that,
neighborhood.
yeah, who's the most negative person? So I'm thinking to myself, it's my aunt. It's my aunt. She's been negative my whole life. Not like she put people down. She would always say, "Oh, that's Murphy's law. If it's gonna go bad, it's gonna go bad. It always happens to me." But then he gave us the answer. Do you remember what it was?
You yourself is the negative
Yes.
person.
The most negative person in the room in your life is yourself. Okay. We all have that
Mhm.
self doubt. I'm not good enough. Somebody's better than me. There's a lot of competition. I don't have the right clothes. I don't speak good English. And that's another one, especially for Philippines. And I got to tell you, and this isn't just based on my experience. This is if you start doing, and forget about internet searches. Go on AI and just ask it a question like, who's the most qualified international candidates to work in the U.S. market? And if you do the prompt right, what you're going to come up with is the Philippine people. And I'll tell you why. It has a lot to do with the fact that we occupied your country for a long time, right? The Philippine people
Yeah,
picked up a
history.
lot of the U.S. customs. Your English, believe it or not, is the best in the world when it comes to international. There. Okay. So when we were doing the live classes, because we would poll, the students, and the most common uh, shortcoming that people thought that they had was their English wasn't good enough. And I was like,
Agree.
that's so not true. My team, because my team has to talk to my clients. And not only do they doing the round button thing, but not only are they talking to them, they're giving them tax advice. Most importantly, my clients like them. They like to. I think they like talking to them more than they like talking to me. But
Yes.
the other thing I learned about, because I studied this stuff, I spent a long time with a bunch of professional public speakers, and the only way to cure stage fright, and let me tell you, so first off, I was very, very shy, believe it or not. I couldn't get a job offer when I first started. Because I didn't do the things that you're talking about. Okay, I didn't know how to ask questions. But as far as the fear of public speaking, this is another thing that Larry said. people's biggest fear in the world, hands down, is public speaking. So if you're afraid of public
Public
speaking,
speaking.
yeah, there's very few people that start out that aren't afraid of public speaking. The second biggest fear is, you want to know what the second biggest fear is? Being burned alive. So people are more afraid of public speaking than being burned alive. So how do you cure that? By doing it. That's the only way. You can't practice. You can't practice at home. I tried that. You gotta just do the interviews, no matter how terrified you are. And then after a while, this is what nailed it for me, Marianne. My cousin, I had a mentor, and this is another thing. Everybody needs a mentor. If you're in business, you need a mentor. If you're looking for a job, you definitely need a mentor, and we're gonna get to that. But early on, my cousin was my mentor, and I was ready to give up on the accounting profession. And he said, why? He said, how is your job search coming? I said, I'm never going to be a CPA. And he said, why? I said, because all the accounting firms, they want people with experience. How am I going to get experience if they're not going to hire me? So he shook his
Yes.
head and he was like, didn't you drive an ice cream truck? I said, yeah, before I graduated. He's like, didn't you like manage your inventory? Didn't you, conduct sales? You kept track of your records? And I said, yeah. He was like, well, you have business experience. Put your ice cream truck on the resume. And I did that, and something unbelievable happened. I would go into the interview, and the first thing they would want to talk about was tell me about the ice cream truck. And I wasn't afraid anymore because I could talk about the ice cream truck. But more importantly, what I realized was I was just being myself, right? When I wasn't talking about getting an accounting job, I was talking about my ice cream truck business. And all of a sudden, my voice got better, my posture got better. And I was like, it's not about the ice cream truck. It was about me just being myself. That's how I got confidence. Does that make sense?
Yes, the authenticity.
So one of the things that, I said that you're great at a couple of things. I think that we're all really, really good at a couple of things. For me, I'm terrible at most things: relationships, raising kids, eating right. You know, when it comes to my business, I'm really good at handling clients, getting clients. I know how to run my business. I'm really, really good at that. So you're really good at getting the interviews, but not only getting the interviews, but getting the offers, right? Because you could get 100 interviews and still walk out with no offers. So give us a little taste of what's the strategy of getting an offer.
Of course, initially, of course, I've learned already this one. Again, for 4 years already, I've been doing this. So basically, you have to listen to the client first. You have to really listen 80% most of the time. During interview, you have to listen. And after you listen, you have to write down all the pain points of the clients. And every time you have an interview, you have to learn what's the solution for every problem. So not only finding the solution, but most of the clients wants the process on how you will solve the problem. So for example, messy books. So you have to lay down all the process that that the client need. Like I told you, onboarding clients already because basically they don't know what to do. They don't know exactly what they need. in the business, right? And especially in accounting. So they don't know what's the reports all about, what's the difference about cash flow, bank balance sheet, and income statement. They just know the 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 word, but the purpose of each report sometimes they doesn't know also. They need someone who can explain to them and what's the process of having that kind of report. So process.
Yeah.
Actually,
So,
the
I think
answer is process.
you said the magic word, and that's knowing what their pain is, right? And I
Yes.
gave everybody a hint, a clue. I'm going to tell you right now if you didn't get it. Time. Every person doesn't have enough time, especially if they're running a business. So if you could solve that problem for them, you're in. You're definitely in. The other thing that I know that you're exceptionally great at is networking. That's how you got you know one of the top 100 Philippine people on LinkedIn. You're an influencer. I don't know. What do you have? Like 40,000 followers, or you up to 50,000?
Turning 48. Hopefully this year,
What?
48,000
Wow,
connection
wow,
this year.
48,000. So one of the interesting facts that I learned as I was putting my courses together is the fact that I forgot the number. Let's say, and I'm underestimating. Let's say 80% of the positions out there aren't even advertised. They're not
Posted, yeah.
posted. People get them through network, right? They actually get
Yeah.
them through people like you, and we're going to talk about exactly, what you do with your main business task wise. But can you shed some light? I mean, I was shocked. I was really shocked, but it makes sense. It makes sense
Yeah.
that
So yeah, I realize also LinkedIn is very powerful. I think billions, 1 billion on LinkedIn. I think 11 to 12 million Filipino users. So most of the people on LinkedIn are business owners, decision makers, recruiter, HR practitioners who's really need a people. They're looking. So basically, you really have to show up and be visible on LinkedIn. So that's why I always encourage my mentees to really create a valued post, content creation. So in that way, you are being known for your skills and expertise without pushing so hard or selling your services because they really want someone. I told already the three things that I've learned on LinkedIn, which is something entertaining, educating, and inspiring. So they're just watching, just like you're just only need someone who will show up on social media to offer their services. So I have this kind of visibility versus ability. So no matter how good you are, skills you are, CPA, sorry, cum laude, whatever title that you have, but you're not able to really showcase your services and values on social media, nobody will come to you and ask your services. That's the reality.
yeah. So
Mhm.
and I know this because I've been following you for years now, and you're very transparent. You don't just talk about business. You talk about your family. You share videos when you're going out to events. You share stuff that you're a human being. But as far as what I could tell people, and this is what I try to do. First off, you want to, and this goes back to self-awareness and following your strengths. Once you figure out where you want to be, like let's say it's e-commerce, which is huge right now, or even
Mhm.
cryptocurrency, because it's huge and nobody knows how to account for crypto, right? It's like a moving target. So let's say you decide, hey, because it's exciting, I want to learn. I'm going to be an expert on crypto, and anybody can be an expert now. Okay, you spend a couple of hours learning about it because the truth is there's really not that much. Uh, and then how do you become an expert? you start posting about it, right? You start posting, hey, this is, I just read H&R Block just proposed that any transaction under $600 is like exempt from taxes, because this is one of the things about crypto. Anytime you withdraw money, that's a taxable transaction. So even if you bought a coffee at a Starbucks, like let's say it's $15, I think, for a cup of coffee now. You use your crypto card, which is what they want. You got to report that $15 on your tax return as a transaction. And then you got to report either how much you paid for it. So it's either a profit or a loss. Most people don't know this stuff. So if I wanted to specialize in crypto, I would post something like that, right? So you just post little nuggets. It could be if you want to do
Pain
e-commerce,
points.
right? You give people
Yeah.
solutions. They want checklists, templates. You put it out there, and then if you're a candidate, I guarantee you, your potential employer, chances are they're going to go on your LinkedIn profile, right? So if you say you're an expert at e-commerce and there's no post about e-commerce, that doesn't look too good, right?
Correct. Yes. Totally
Yeah.
agree.
So
Yep.
I'd like to start winding this down because I'm getting a sore throat and people don't like to watch long videos. Uh, let's talk about, because you've done, a lot of things in your career. You've been an accountant, you've been a salesperson, real
Yeah.
estate, insurance. You have really have a wide variety of experiences. And now what you did was you gravitated toward, and you actually started this, I think, in 21. Your company is called Taskwise. So tell
Mhm.
us, all about that, why you're doing what you're doing, and how it might benefit people that are watching here.
Yeah, so just to give you again a background, if you don't follow my journey, so just like someone like you before from corporate to freelancing, and eventually freelancing is a stepping stone on building your, in a way, company, because it really gives you a different wearing some different hats. You're the marketer, you're the admin, you're the finance. So you learn a lot of things, how to really offer your services on social media, and be out on LinkedIn and FB pages. And then basically you will land clients. And if you will have a lot of clients, then eventually you will outsource those client and those tasks. So that's why there's TaskWise is being established 2021, because somebody from, of course, LinkedIn, my classmate and MBA, told me, you're posting in social media, you have a lot of client. Why not do outsourcing and set up like a BPO type, because you can get clients. So this is where it all started. So at first I'm also hesitant. Are you sure I can do that? So that's the first step. You have to be, step out on your comfort zone, and eventually Taswise become just a headhunter, not an agency anymore. Just people from my connection asked me, someone who can do this bookkeeping. So it's like a headhunter, like, yeah, just give the candidate to the client. So they are happy on that kind of services. So yeah, that's basically. And this year I think March, we co-founded WorkSync, which is doing the local outsourcing, and it's getting bigger. So soon, somebody is also want to establish some accounting firm, because it's related, right? So somebody from accounting, they need to outsource, and somebody who can do the bookkeeping for them, compliance, audit. So it started, of course, of being again visible on social media every day. Sometimes I don't want to show up, but again, that's the not the so secret sauce, but that's the reality. Again, you have to show up, no matter how hard. Sometimes you don't want to show up, but you really have to show up because you have a business and you have this advocacy or passion to help other people. So that's the goal of having an agency or being a business owner. Yeah, it's very deep. You know that. You're muted.
Yes.
Yes.
One of the first things I learned about if you want to speak, you have to unmute your mic. Uh, but what I was saying is I want to wrap this up in a minute, and but you mentioned about helping people and serving. You know, my coach, my mentor, my friend Larry Broughton said something to me, or not just me, but the group in general, and he said, "Serve first, serve first," and that really changed my mindset, how I approach business. Because what he said is, in the end, we're all here to serve each other. And one of the main reasons why I hired you, besides, you know, you nailed the interview, I knew that you had this Facebook group, Accounting Peoples, and you were doing it out of love. You weren't making any money at it. You know, if anybody ever started a group, you know it takes a lot of time and effort. You got to nurture people, and what I saw was 1,500 active members in the group for the sole purpose of learning how to become a freelancer. So now your group has what, over 24,000 active people?
Yeah,
And
at least, yeah, they're still there. Yeah.
yeah, so let me tell you, I had a friend that had 80,000 people in her group, but maybe 500 of them were active. Okay. When I saw Marianne's group, it was 1,500 active participants in the group. And that's how I launched the whole Bedrock 360 business training. Because so Marianne, she lasted a month with us. She lasted a month with Bedrock. And she was so humble and honest. You know, she could have just quit, but what she did was she met with me, which is a scary thing for some people. She met with me to tell me that she couldn't do it because her heart was in other places. And I respected that. And what I told her was, I said, you know, I have this course that I could definitely tweak for, you know, Filipino accountants and turn it from bookkeeping into doing U.S. taxes. And we put it in the group, and we got over 50 people paid $197, which I found out later that that's a lot of money for Philippine people. And then we did another batch, and we got another 50 people. And then, you know, the students started asking me to do different courses. Anyway, long story short, we have over 30 courses now. It's become, you know, almost like an obsession with me. We're producing a course just about every week. And anyway, I got a little bit off track. But the bottom line, and the reason why I do that is because I see the difference that we can make in people's life, Marianne, right? When you could help somebody get a job, whether it's becoming a freelancer, a remote worker, or even getting a local position, that's empowering them. That's giving them freedom, right? Would you agree with that?
Yes, because at the end of the day, people are also longing for some personal growth, not only professional but personal growth. So eventually, after working in a corporate, they need some to upskill, have their an edge to the market and able to really, again, at the end of the day, they will also serve other people in community through us. So the communities become the channel of, in a way, blessing for everyone. It opens a lot of opportunities, knowledge, collaboration, referrals, work name it, we have it on in the community. So that's the power of having a community, is able to really help one another, different places all over the world. I think we have already in Qatar, Dubai, sometimes in Canada, US, of course, all over in the Philippines. Yeah. So that's the
Yes.
power of a community.
Yes. So tomorrow night, I posted a link in the chat. Tomorrow night, Coach Yanyan and I are going to be doing a deep dive into these topics and more. Like I said, we'll be sharing, we're going to turn back, pull back the curtain and do a deep dive into exactly what the opportunities are in the accounting world. So I specialize in the U.S., but like I said before, the whole world really needs accountants more now than ever, more now than ever. So click the link. It's a free workshop. You're gonna, believe me, you're gonna get uh, a lot of value. And then I know that I have some unbelievable offers giving people access to our training courses. And I know Marianne is starting another coaching batch. This is why she's known as Coach Yanyan. She actually coaches and mentors people. Can you just give us a few minutes on your coaching program? Because I know that you've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people with your coaching.
Yeah, so this is because of Jody Chara, my mentor, my what I have experienced as a freelancer. So I'm just good thing that I document all my journeys. I was able to create a roadmap, and the roadmap is really is a holistic approach on getting clients. This is again the solutions. Some of you of those who's watching really have struggles on getting clients hard and be able to scale. Not only being hired, soon you will launch your own business. So we can give you some, of course, some guidance on how to do it. But basically, just to start, what's the trend? What's the employer is looking for? What do you need? Your some templates, some cheat sheet, especially cheat sheets, because working remotely sometimes is different from the corporate. You have to be more resourceful and creative on doing things. So how to collaborate with your employer or boss, even working online. So those things. So there's 4 phases on my coaching sessions that tackled about getting hired or noticed applications, and then second one, how to win interview. The third is some workflow and template that I mentioned, all the template that you need, from cash flow, financial statement, some how to market your services. Those things I have. Proposal template I have, communication template from the client I do have. So number 4 is of course how to market yourself. So this is the very hard part of being a freelancer, is really to sustain, retain clients, and how to survive on this kind of in a way industry or profession. So plus the bonus is I will teach you on how to build your own agency, from setting up the operations. Again, the template, I have the proposal that I sent to the client, the question that I ask on the client if you're an agency. So I already those, again, a roadmap for for establishing your own agency or
Yeah.
accounting firm. Yeah.
So so I joined you in a couple of sessions and I saw all your free tools, and you can't keep giving those all away. There's too many of them and they're way too valuable. So we're gonna have to meet and
Super.
talk about you monetizing that, and I'm not joking. It's okay to
Mhm.
give them away to your mentees and your coaching
Mhm.
clients, but there's definitely ways that you could start monetizing that stuff. Anyway, any
Mhm.
final words of wisdom, Coach Anyan?
Yeah, so we're back again. I'm again launching my coaching session at this year, before the 2025 ends. So because this is a good time to start looking for client, this is the tax season. So and year end. So most of the clients and business owners are looking for accountant. So This is your way of getting clients and able to really land your ideal clients. Not only getting clients, but your ideal clients. That's totally different thing. And just getting clients is different from getting your ideal client because you're asking
Yeah.
the right questions during the interview. So yeah, basically we will have a webinar December 4, 7 p.m. tomorrow. I will post the link on a YouTube channel and I will post on my social media on LinkedIn after this session.
Yeah. So
Okay,
thank you
thank
for
you so
bringing
much.
that
See
up.
you.
It's all about getting your, and that's what one of my courses is, the AI powered accountant. Find your dream job, right? I never had a
Yes.
problem getting clients. Okay. Always got clients. The hard part was getting good clients, right? So it literally took me decades to figure that out. Uh, that's a whole nother story. And it goes back to personal development, having coaches. But I got to tell you, today, I really like and respect all of my clients. Okay. And that makes, I don't even feel like I'm working anymore. It's sort of like a pleasure. It's like I'm helping them and they gladly pay me for that. That's where I want everyone to be. Don't just go out there and find a job, find your dream job, find your dream clients. And that's what we're going to show you exactly how to do. So that's my story. I'm sticking with it. Joe DeChara, CPA. Thank you, JJ, again for dropping in and sticking around. And God bless. And I hope to see all of
See you
you
tomorrow.
tomorrow, 7
How
p.m.
many?
Okay.
500 already, right? 500 registered. I
Over
think so.
500 registered and still counting.
Mm,
All right. Thank
okay.
you, everyone.
Nice.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.